the Senate, but in many places in our country. I'd like to greet, first and foremost, all the officers and members of the Philippine Society of Hematology and Blood Transfusion, particularly your president, Marilu A. Abiera. Good evening. And also Jess Relos. Anong oras na ba, Jess? Vice President. And of course, uh, the Secretary Joseph Vincent Alba, Secretary Jasmine Ruiz, Assistant Secretary, and the Treasurer Minerva Ramos, and all the members of the board as well. A very pleasant good evening in these very, very tempestuous and very, very challenging times of our lives. The pandemic hits us once every 100 years. Uh, Not quite. There have been only major pandemics in recorded history. That was in 1917, 1918. Of course, there were other records, but they were in different areas of the world, like China, India. They have the Black Plague in Europe, and therefore uh, we are fortunate na tayo ngayon ay uh, we are being chosen to challenge this pandemic that is really deadly and that really can impoverish a lot of people, which is the most damage that greatest damage that it does. But of course, it kills people, and so therefore it behooves all of us to magbago ng lifestyle, magbago ng new normal na sinasabi. Marami tayong mga slogan na sinasabi new normal, magbago tayo, and yet alam naman natin ang basic kung lahat ay magmamask, magfe-face shield pa, lahat maghuhugas ng kamay regularly, whenever they can, plus alcohol. At kung lahat ay gagawa ng distansya and will not go to crowded places and will stay at home and go out only when he needs to go out, but always be careful and get a lot of sun. You know that. You're all doctors. I don't need to tell you. I think we can finish this pandemic right away. But most important to finish this pandemic off is testing. And that is what we do in the Red Cross today. We become uh, the highest, we had the highest number of tests in the whole world, in the whole country, 1,114,000 plus. And this has been recognized by the whole Red Cross movement because we're the only ones that have tested throughout the whole world, and we're higher than most of the other societies in the world. Now, in the area of blood, which is something that we've been very proud of since the 1948, when the Blood Advisory Committee was formed upon the suggestion of the late Doña Aurora Quezon, the First Lady of Manuel Quezon, our first Commonwealth President. Uh, we have since really taken bold steps to making sure that we maintain our status as the number one blood supplier of the country. In fact, we're very proud about that because blood is something that is very, very precious, as you all know. And who knows, the blood that you give today, as an old slogan goes, could be the blood that will save you tomorrow or your family. So as a hematologist, I'm sure I don't have to lecture you on the importance of blood. Suffice it to know that our program requires us to provide access and to make sure that we are able to provide uh, not only access but timely access in order to provide safe, adequate, quality blood supply throughout the entire country through voluntary blood donations. We spearheaded the fact that you should not sell your blood here in the country, and I'm glad that I was there when we passed that bill. And at the same time, now the Red Cross has created a system by which we can generate a lot of donors in our country by way of what we call the 143 volunteers that we have, where we have 44 in every barangay and where we have 102 Philippine Red Cross chapters throughout the archipelago, 102 blood units. I'm sorry, we produced 529,102 blood units in 2019, representing 52% of the national blood requirements. And therefore, it is important to not everybody know, as I always say, everybody is a walking blood bank, meaning he's got blood that he can deposit to a blood collection unit, or he can receive, he can withdraw and deposit. That's what it is all about. And I grew up in a family where my mother was in the Red Cross for 63 years. And I remember that she would always go out at night to look for blood when somebody needed blood, when there were really no modern blood banks in the country. It's also good to note that the first blood banks were created by the Philippine Red Cross, and that's why we're very, very proud of it. Sometimes the Red Cross is taken for granted, being a voluntary organization, but we are everywhere. We have about 160 ambulances. We have built 151,000 homes and growing. We have fire trucks. We have what you call amphibians. Like now, our amphibians are out, ready to go out and rescue people in floods. We have even a ship that can ferry 1,000 people on cargo to any part of the island. And of course, in the blood scheme, we have out of the 102 chapters, we have 98 blood service facilities with 26 blood centers and 72 blood collection units and 10 apheresis centers. Recent addition to this for the time of COVID is the fact that we have also set up a convalescent plasma unit that is the biggest in the country right now, and we're able to save lives. We've been able to collect a lot of blood from positive rated people who got positive results for COVID, and we were able to convince many of them to donate to us. And we have dispensed 460 units, and we have also served 388 patients, and 65 hospitals have been served. Now, look at the impact of this. Patients that recovered out of the 388 is 122, and 99 patients and 23 patients, totaling 122. Of the 102, 99 patients were in moderate infection, and 23 patients who were in severe infection, or 19%, was saved by this effort of the Red Cross to make sure that we collect also convalescent plasma. We know of 69 deaths. We know that we have 56 ongoing treatment, and we don't know the results on 141 because they requested us to make sure that we don't have to mention people about it. Now, like I said, our blood base is our volunteers. We have 2 million volunteers, and we know all their blood types. So sometimes when we call them for blood, they will come. But most of the time, we have our regular blood donors, about 251,155 blood donors who regularly give blood to us. So one person can give 4 times a year. So if we really step on the gas, we can have a lot more people who will give blood. And my dream is that when we need blood, I would like to see long files of people lining up to give blood when there's an emergency, as I've seen when I was growing up in Subic Bay in Olongapo. When Americans ask for blood, they announce it, and right away you maybe have 200 people lining up when they only need a few bags of blood. May kusang loob, malasakit at kapwa-tao. And alam niyo naman, pagka nagbigay kayo ng dugo, ang feeling nyo, you have self-worth. You're saving somebody's life in the process. Our basic blood regular suppliers are usually the barangays, and we go there, and the government and private agencies such as SSS, USIS, and private corporations like, for example, recently San Miguel is committed to provide us blood every quarter with their so many thousands of employees. Even Starbucks has committed to us, and Pure Gold, we do that also sometimes in other malls. And you can see Mr. Ramon Ang there getting a teddy bear Red Cross, and we were able to get them. And we also honored Sani Alvarez, who got blood for us at the height of his disease, fatal disease. I've authored a resolution saying twice a year on his birthday, on his death anniversary, the Senate should give blood. So we try to create groups of people who will give blood regularly, and when we need it, they will be available. We also have a blood bank reserved for those who have Rh negative. So we don't store it, but we are able to have a long list of Rh negative folks that when we need to give blood, we provide that with them. We also have made sure that we are able to now deliver the blood. So if one can afford it or even if he cannot afford it, kung agaw buhay, papadala namin ng blood by ambulance para sa ganoon, madaling makaabot yung dugo kung agaw buhay ang tao. Eh, syempre naman, yung mga may kaya, kung gusto nila i-deliver within a certain distance, ang dagdag lang doon ay 1,000. So yun ang ginagawa namin ngayon. In addition to that, we have a Blood Samaritan program that I started a few years back when I endorsed Safeguard, which I introduced to the market in the Philippines when I was working for Procter & Gamble. And I said Safeguard and Red Cross should have a tie-up. And they surprised me by paying me, I think, 11 or 12,500,000 pesos. I don't remember anymore. But they were surprised when I returned the check. And they said, "Why are you returning the check?" Because you should give it to the Philippine Red Cross, not to Richard J. Gordon. I did not ask for payment. And they changed the check, and they were very proud of it. And so that started the Blood Samaritan program. And since that time, I've had a number of friends give to that Blood Samaritan program. Because if you lead by example, a lot of people will follow as well. And that is important. So you have the Blood Samaritan program, and people cannot afford or have really been severely, catastrophically affected, even if kung may kaya ka, kung ang disease mo napakamahal, lalo na ngayon. Ma-hospital ka lang sa isang malaking hospital na bago dito, sa linggo lang, abutin ka na ng 700,000 or even several millions, dapat talaga matutulungan ng Blood Samaritan program kahit na may kaya, pag mauubos na, dapat tulungan natin ng dugo yung mga taong yan. Lalong-lalo na, siyempre, yung mga mahihirap na pwedeng makumuha. I sleep very little at night because my phones are always open, and people call me from all over the 4 areas of the country, the 4 corners of the country. Matawag sa akin sa Sulu, sa Iligan, sa Iloilo, sa Cebu, sa Ilocos, lahat yan tumatawag. Nakukuha nila yung telepono ko somehow, and I'm happy to answer. And usually I would send them a message and say, please state your name and what are your requirements, which hospital are you in, tell me whose doctor is recommending the blood, and right away I submit it to my staff, and my staff will call them to see to it that they're giving the right information, and right away they will be provided with blood. We have done that to thousands of people, and one of the new additions that we have added for the last several years is our operation center. Our operation center can be called, dial 143. If you need blood, you'll be served there right away. And if you're in, let's say, Iligan, we have a blood bank there, or you're in Cebu, we have several blood banks there in those areas. Now, in the meantime, today, we're looking at, as you say, bridging the gaps in the blood supply chain. There will always be gaps anywhere. And one of the gaps is always, baka mawala ng blood yung isang area. So we have devised a system about 12 years ago where every chapter reports the amount of blood that he has collected and the amount of blood they have dispensed. And when we see that they're lower, we will tell them to collect more blood, conduct a blood donation campaign, and at the same time, make sure that if they cannot provide that and they have needs, we will fly the blood right away. For example, on several occasions in the past, when there were encounters in Sulu or during the Zamboanga siege, we would send 200 bags of blood. Or in the case of the tsunami, we provided right away 100 bags of blood to Leyte because they lost their blood bank. And immediately, a few days after, we had an air-conditioned container that we converted into a temporary blood collection unit. And there you go, you can see it there. So, and also we provided the Basay in Samar, a blood station. So there you go. We are supposed to generate 1%. DOH, PRC, and others, the Philippine Blood Center, should provide 1% of the total population. And we have provided always 52%. But this coming year, it will be different because we're now going to add more blood collection or blood stations, we call it, where we can store blood, and we will have a presence in the community so people will know where to go and they can get blood there, And if they cannot get blood there, we can send blood by airplane as quickly as possible. We just want to reach out. We don't wait for Muhammad to come to the mountain. The mountain must come to Muhammad so that people can get blood right away. Our plan is to put 5 blood stations and 1 blood center in every province and in every city, so much so that you will see uh, 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 the dramatic change in the way we provide blood for our people who are in need, especially the poor. Now, of course, one of the things that we're planning, because we now have a molecular laboratory, is that we will also include HIV in our testing program and also hepatitis and all that. Right now, done by interview, and we have minor tests, but now we intend to acquire, and we already have acquired machines, but they have no reagents in China, so we're acquiring another machine that will allow us to test for HIV and all that at the minimum cost, so that people will be asked, do you want to have the HIV test to be sure? And if they say yes, we can provide it at this cost. And I'm sure that will benefit many of our people, and they're not going to get sick because they might get contaminated blood. We have never had any contaminated blood in our laboratory. Since I became chairman, I'm not aware of any. And I'm very particular about that because when I was mayor of Olongapo, I served with the HIV afflicted men and women in Olongapo. We were the first ones to do that. And we eradicated HIV in our city by hiring all these people, making sure we know where they are, making sure they don't infect others. And that's what we're doing again in our country today with COVID. In the case of COVID, the tendency is people will be afraid to give blood because there are curfews and it's a chore just to get out of the house and you're afraid. So now, again, Muhammad goes to the mountain and we go to their houses. We go to a particular area where we can collect all these people and let them sit on a properly spaced, correctly spaced area, and they come, and then we are able to provide the blood that we need. And of course, we intend in this coming year, like I said, to provide a lot of blood collection units, a lot of blood centers throughout the archipelago, because you never know what can happen in this day and age. You can suddenly have this kind of a disease, or you can have Ebola, or you can have something else. We want to be prepared for that. The other thing that we're thinking of doing right now is creating a blood, rather a laboratory, a clinical laboratory, so we can test everybody, make it easy for them to be tested at a reasonable cost. You can test everything, including CAT scan, including ultrasound, including all the blood problems that you may have. And we'll probably have some offices for doctors in our building when we do so, because we're going to build another building in the back of the building that we have, so that we could have more spacious surroundings, more parking for our people, because it's right in the middle of EDSA. Now, when we start talking about having people get blood, we are making sure that there's a full court press. For example, the Blood Samaritan program, you have Dr. Catherine Senen, with her permission, she passed on. But we fought for her. We provided 122 bags of blood until she died. We've also done that for others, like a former actor named Magalona. And at the request of Rosa Rizal, we provide him with free access to blood. And then you have also a Nepalese, Dr. Sarvesh Shrestha, 32 years old. We provide him with blood as well. And also the mother of one of our doctors in PGH required blood, and we provided them with that as well. Also, to be able to move around, we have 5 COVID ambulances that go around. And should you need to have it picked up, you can call the Red Cross and borrow it, of course, for a small fee. And we will be able to do what you need us to do. We have a new ambassador, Catriona Gray, Miss Universe. Napagkama lang ang pula. Sabi ko doon sa sundalo, hindi pula yan, Red Cross yan. Hindi pulang komunista yan. There's really no accounting for judgment and taste. So she will be our ambassador among other folks as well. And there you go. Isn't she pretty? And she already gave blood, and she's already going around the country and even representing the Red Cross abroad. She's going to Colombia, and she will be there to talk about the Red Cross of the Philippines. So, by and large, that's what we're doing. All doctors can call us. We have had a lot of friends who are hematologists, and any of you who need to call us, if they call us, you can get the number from me if you like. If you need blood, you can call me at my number is 0920 952 952 7232. So if you need blood, call right away, and we will send you the instructions so we can service right away. But of course, you can always call 143. I keep telling people that, but they still call me. So that's all right. I don't mind. That's part of my advocacy and my sacrifice or service. I don't say sacrifice, I'm sorry. My service to our country, apart from being a senator. I am not paid in the Red Cross. I do raise a lot of money for the Red Cross. I have modernized the Red Cross to a lot of friends. All our molecular laboratories have been supported by a number of our friends, and we're very, very proud of that. And so today, this occasion, I congratulate you on your 50th convention. I would like to say that we're very proud that you have doctors like you. And by the way, I forgotten to say to you that we are about to introduce the saliva test, which will make it even cheaper. I touched base with the University of Illinois, and they gave us the protocols. They allowed us, along with the non-disclosure agreement, of course, and we're just waiting for the final word from the what do you call it, Health Equipment Assessment or Health Technology Assessment Council. And when that is approved, the blood test will probably go down. The convalescent plasma will probably, the convalescent COVID test will go down to about 2,000 to even 1,500 pesos. Now, I hope you'll pray with me to shed light upon the darkness that envelopes the minds of those who are in PhilHealth. Not only has PhilHealth become one of the most corrupt areas in the country, in the department, I have investigated them, I know. Many of you are doctors and you are aware of that. Some of you have been blackmailed. Some of you have been offered, certain goodies. I hope you did not give in. But now, I did not ask them to test with us. I did not ask the government to test with us. But when they found out that we had a molecular laboratory that is faster than what they have, they asked us to continue testing. They called us game changers. We can show you all the things that the cabinet of the Republic said, where they said it's a game changer according to Secretary Lorenzana and many others, all right? And even the Red Cross headquarters in Geneva has already weighed in on what we have done here in the Philippines. And yet, PhilHealth refuses to pay us. They give all kinds of reasons. First, they said we want to check with our lawyers. Then they checked with DBM. DBM said no, it's illegal. It's a law-abiding contract. And then they said we're going to ask the OJ. And before that, President Duterte has already told them to pay. And then DOJ said that the contract is above board. And yet I can not understand why these people remain adamant. And of course, I'm trying to keep my cool. After all, I can investigate them later on. Senate Blue Ribbon Committee, I have in the past investigated them. Not for this, but we can investigate that. But where are the doctors who should really get upset with the fact that you know that if we do not test, a big chunk of the testing that is being done by the Red Cross could affect those who are sick, and you can have more people sick. That means you'll have lockdowns again. That means the economy will slow down, and that will hurt many, many people, including doctors, lawyers. The common tao will be affected. So it's my hope that you will join us, maybe come up with a resolution telling them that you cannot do that, you must pay your obligations. We did not ask them to test with us. We tested them, and they should pay. But hindi ko maintindihan bakit ayaw magbayad. And the only reason I can think of is that they probably, and I'll give you an example. In the Philippine air in the airport, when we don't test in the airport, they have people who test there and they charge initially 4,500. We charge 3,500. When we stop testing, they charge 7,000 to 10,000 to 20,000 pesos. So makita mo, some people are being favored by this. So I will not go into any more complicated scenarios. I would just like to thank you for inviting me. It's a great honor and pleasure. As you can see, I'm not reading any notes. I just want to tell you that I speak always from the heart. And I want to make sure that all of you always use your mind and your heart when you serve the country. Use your skills and use your talents and skills to benefit the poor, benefit those who are vulnerable. So thank you all very much and have a pleasant good afternoon and have the rest of your convention may it be successful at all times. Thank you for inviting me. God bless you all. Unless you have an open forum, I will bid you adieu. Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you very much, Senator Gordon, for that insight. And in behalf of the hematologists in the country, we would like to extend our appreciation to the role of Philippine Red Cross under your leadership, how it is a foundation in terms of patient management and patient care. So actually, I have a lot of, it's not a question, it's just saying that thank you note. And hopefully, sir, we can have a continued partnership between doctors, particularly as hematologists, and with the Philippine Red Cross. So I have a lot of experience of my patient sending them to Red Cross to get blood saving, life saving blood. That most often it's the Red Cross who can provide for us. So thank you very much, sir, for the things that you have done for the Red Cross and actually what you have done for the country.
Thank you. That's most welcome that we have partnerships with radio and TV stations. We have partnerships with the PMA, with the Surgical Association, and with many others. In fact, if I were to show you in our in our uh, in our operation center, we have all the names of the doctors that are members of PMA and Surgical Association, neurosurgeons, so that in case we have a bad earthquake, we know who to call. In case we need a specialist from hematology, we would be privileged if you would lend us your names and your phones and your email so that we can call you. For an example, you can see these are our volunteers. Of course, my staff from PUP did not understand what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the doctors should be there, and there you go. I think these are the doctors that we have included here, and they have their particular area where they serve, and they have the specialists as well. Uh, uh, I think uh, my girl is new here, and I'm trying to get her to come out with the specialists, the neurosurgeons, and the other things that we provide. I think these are the Philippine Nurses Association. So why don't you just show all para hindi ka na naghahanap. Philippine Nurses Association. And this is the hospitals. We know where we have deals with the hospitals so that we can go in and provide them with blood, blankets, and social services. Go ahead. Next slide, please. And then you have College of Surgeons. There you go. So you can have whatever skills they have are placed there at, you know, I cannot see it because it's being blocked. There you go. I think it should say there whether they are a neurologist or a neurosurgeon or an ortho, so we can provide that as well. So I look forward to your joining us and submitting your names here, and we can put you on the map, and we can call you. We can even fetch you if there's an emergency. If you agree, our ambulances or our pickups will fetch you if we need your services in an emergency. I hope you will be willing to do that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator Gordon. So, may I call on Dr. Marilu Abiera to award the Certificate of Appreciation to our honorable speaker.
Good evening, Senator Gordon. Before
Good
anything
evening, Dr.
else,
Marilu.
maraming salamat po sa pagpapaunlak ng aming paanyaya despite your very hectic schedule. And we are really very aware of how hard you work in order to promote the well-being po ng ating mga tao, mga Pilipino, to ensure that we have adequate and safe blood, but most of all, of course, access to this particular resource. So may I present to you a certificate of appreciation?
Thank you.
It reads po, sir, the PSH, the Philippine Society of Hematology and Blood Transfusion, present the certificate of appreciation to Honorable Senator Richard J. Gordon for his invaluable contribution as Speaker on this occasion of the Society's 50th Annual Convention, given this 26th day of October 2020, signed by Maria Liza Naranjo, MD, the Chair of the Scientific Committee, Dr. Jesus A. Relos, 50th PSHBT Overall Convention Chair, and yours truly po, Marilu A. Abiera as President of PSHBT. The other thing po is we would like to present to you this coffee table book that embodies and chronicles the PSHBT's history, our heritage and honor. Ipapadala po namin sa office ninyo, sir. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much. I accept this with honor and a great privilege. I still would like to hear whether you're willing to join us. Dr. Alba said that you're going to join us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We will commit. I, as president of the PSHBT, will commit our membership to partnership with PRC.
We'd be very proud to have you as some of our volunteers.
Yes, sir.
And accept your contribution of maybe 1,000 pesos.
Yes,
and
sir.
that's okay. You can afford that, but so that we can continue to serve. I also would like to say Jess Relos, Dr. Jess Relos, texted me and he says, I'm one of them, sir, asking blood from your staff. Thanks you. Thanks. We will always serve everybody, including the people from PhilHealth.
Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. God bless.
Thank you, sir. And
no more questions, then I shall bid you adieu.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for being with us.
Thank you. God bless. Thank you.
So we thank Senator Gordon again for that insightful talk. So for our next two speakers, who will also give us an exciting talk this evening, we are pleased to inform everyone that the speakers will be joining us later to answer a few questions. The question